This is a story of huge success followed by huge failure and an audacious recovery plan. This is a story of Proton Cars in the UK. Proton was established in 1985 as Malaysia's sole national badge car company until the arrival of Perodua in 1993. A car company was a vital part of the national plan to reduce Malaysia's dependence upon agriculture and achieved industrialised nation status. Subsequently, their government had two priorities: to produce cars developed by Proton independently of its founding partner Mitsubishi, and to make them attractive enough to keep a major stake in the domestic market when high vehicle import tariffs were eliminated. Back in 1988, when Top Gear was a programme about cars and tank tops were still in fashion, Proton arrived in the UK with a privately owned importer, David Brown. When it entered the market, its key attraction was price. Buyers could get into the brand for just £6,000, the price for a base level Ford Fiesta or Rover Metro. Proton took advantage of the growing gap at the bottom end of the market, just as Japanese cars were becoming more expensive, and they lured customers with longer warranties, free insurance and low rate finance. This worked well, and 5,000 cars were sold in the first 6 months through the established and mature Lada dealer network, where its models did not compete with Lada's cheaper offerings. The brand's success also caught the attention of the Top Gear team.
Back to modern times. Now, last year, when the sales figures in the UK of just about every car manufacturer were collapsing around their ears, the maker of this car, the Proton from Malaysia, achieved the highest growth rate of any car manufacturer. Now, that success was achieved, in part at least, because of their razor-blade competitive pricing. But Chris Goff has been looking into whether or not that success was justified.
It's easy to see why the Proton has hit the mark in Britain. It's not a car which will appeal to the enthusiast. Performance, road holding and ride are all adequate rather than outstanding. However, it offers low running costs as well as the reliability of Japanese components.
At the 1990 British Motor Show, the initial 8-valve units were replaced by 12-valve units, giving an increase in power of some 16%. While the early 90s recession caused a huge slump in the UK new car market, Proton was still riding the crest of a wave, with sales up 30%. Its simple model range of the MPI Saloon and Aeroback hatchback used old but proven Mitsubishi technology and was still relatively inexpensive, and those financed offers remained very appealing for many people. Such was the brand's acceptance, it was even offered as a prize on the popular game show Bullseye. And the TV ads continued to push the value for money proposition.
Confused, sir? Wondering which quality car offers exceptional value for money? Take a look at Proton. 10 4- and 5-door family cars with a difference. Galvannealed steel key body panels, the latest multi-valve engines. Try this luxurious 1.5. Central locking.
And above all, cars were proving very popular with customers, as this clip from a JD Power survey on Top Gear tells us.
Here we go, the JD Power Top Gear Top 10.
Its smooth Mitsubishi drivetrain coming in for particular praise from customers. As we moved into the 1990s, the product range was expanded, with the larger Persona joining the range for the first time.
This is our new Proton Persona. It's built using the latest Japanese technology. This one's got power steering, central locking and a 6-speaker blood pump stereo system. However,
by the mid-90s all was not well. The brand was trying to recover from a 15% fall in market share in 1995 compared to 1994. Changes in the dealer network and marketing strategy had driven a low overall score in the National Franchise Dealers Association Dealer Attitude Survey. It wasn't in a great place. The inclusion of a diesel option to win a slice of the company car market was supposed to help. A change in its marketing formed part of the carmaker's move to boost its performance, along with a move away from 0% finance and free insurance offers, and cutting out the low profit daily rental business it had been relying on for volume. The brand even enjoyed some fleet success, with over 300 vehicles being supplied to Humberside Police, many of them converted to run on LPG. Arriving in Feb 97 was this relatively pretty two-door coupe based on the compact. Its 1.8 litre twin-cam 16-valve engine offered a top speed of 130. Its biggest problem was the recently launched Ford Puma. Whilst year-on-year registrations were up, they were nowhere near the previous peak. So the company hatched an audacious plan to supply 3,500 personas into daily rental companies on a buyback deal. It would then take the vehicles back and re-export them back to Malaysia, where the used car market was expanding fast and had huge appetite for vehicles. Had it worked, it would have doubled the company's market share without damaging residual values. Sadly, the Asian economic crisis intervened and the plan failed. By 1998, Proton sales in the UK had fallen to just 7,000 units, so it used the opportunity of its 10th anniversary in January 1999 to celebrate by slashing UK prices by up to 15%, back to 1989 levels before car tax. So buyers could now get into a 1.3 GLI compact for £7,299. Proton's ownership of Lotus gave it a chance to give a sporty makeover to the Mitsubishi Colt-derived Satria hatchback. With a tweaked chassis and beefed up bodywork, the Satria GTI received rave reviews from the media and created a loyal fanbase. The Impian, as it was known in the UK, was the first attempt to produce a car essentially independent of Mitsubishi, a smart four-door saloon which would be available in the UK from July 2001 and positioned above the awkwardly named Huayra, the successor to the Persona. Whilst it had an outward resemblance to the A4, it was developed independently with the help of German specialist EDAG. Initial engines came from Mitsubishi, 16-valve 1.6 units made in Malaysia, and later a 1.8 option from Renault. But by 2003 the Impian was equipped with Proton's own engine, named the Campio, which was developed in Britain by Lotus, along with the suspension, to achieve standards of ride and handling that could apparently match or even surpass European competition. By the millennium, Proton was selling just 3,300 cars. Its medium-term objective was to get back to 10 to 11,000, but this time with more sophisticated, expensive products, which were a far cry from the early years when its sales peaked with cheap and cheerful, 2 generations old Mitsubishi Lancers. One surprise success was the Proton Jumbo pickup, sold from 2003 to 2005, with a single 1.5 litre 86 horsepower petrol engine and an LPG conversion. It sold in good numbers. Despite sales falling to just 1,800 units, efforts to promote the company continued. One of the first new cars to arrive in 2006 was the Sabi Super Mini. With its sub £6,000 price, it was actually targeted at their loyal customer base. Together with the saloon version of the Gen 2, the brand was now predicting sales would double next year to 5,500 units. The new models and new advertising seem to be working, and at the 34th biannual survey of national franchise dealers, Proton actually took top place. In August 2000, Rover Group in the UK were reputedly having discussions with Proton aimed at creating a partnership to develop a new model that would assure the future of their British manufacturer. Proton, which already owned Lotus, suggested collaborating on a £1 billion project to design a vehicle to be built in both Britain and Malaysia. By 2004, the Phoenix consortium-owned Rover Group was in discussion with Proton again to try and seek a replacement for the 25 and 45 model ranges, albeit this didn't progress when the Phoenix-owned Rover dived into bankruptcy in 2005. By 2009, Proton had already sold 150,000 cars in the UK market since entering in 1989, but were down to just over 1,000 units a year, mostly from its large base of loyal customers. In September 2013, Car Dealer magazine reported that Proton was in trouble, and in a big way. In a crucial plate change month, they sold just 3 cars. Whilst Auto Express reported that 3 new models would be launched the following year, they were in fact delayed indefinitely, reportedly due to issues with compliance with EU safety and emissions regulations. Their price positioning had been eroded, and a pause in production due to a factory reconfiguration in Malaysia left dealers with little stock to sell. With MG arriving in 2011 and Dacia in 2013, things were getting tough. Whilst Proton still had a loyal customer base, it simply wasn't enough to stop what was once the fastest growing new car brands in the UK from simply fading away. The story was over for Proton Cars UK. So thanks again for joining me on Lot 76 Cars. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.